بسم الله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إله الأولين والآخرين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق فبلغ رسالة ربه ونصح الأمة وأدى الأمانة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين وصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, today we will be starting the study of Surah Al-Masad, as we made mention before. This particular surah of the Quran is a very common surah, very popular and then very well known. It is a surah that talks about a particular aspect of the seerah of the Prophet. And so this particular surah, of course, unlike any other surah, is dedicated to a particular person who is very close to the Prophet. Okay, that is the uncle of the Prophet, Abu Lahab and his wife. There hasn't been a surah like this. There is no a surah which is dedicated to a particular person. There is no surah like that. So this particular surah, this is the fact, or this is what makes this particular surah distinct from any other surah. It is dedicated to a particular person within the seerah of the Prophet, and that is Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab. Just like any particular person, the Prophet, the Prophet doesn't have brothers. He didn't have brothers, but he had uncles. The Prophet had uncles. And even if you look at how the Prophet or the uncles that the Prophet had and how they dealt with him, we can categorize it into three categories. The first one are the uncle of the Prophet, those who believed in him and fought with him. They believed in him, and they came out on jihad. They followed Islam, and then they even fought for Islam. A second group are those who supported him, and then they helped him, but they remain non-Muslims. They remain disbelievers. Then a third group are those who they are disbelievers, and they didn't support the Prophet. They even fought against the Prophet. They fought the Prophet. So this is how the Prophet, the uncles of the Prophet, and how they dealt with him can be categorized. The first group, as we mentioned, those who believed in him and fought with him. You can have Ibn Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet, and then Hamza radiallahu anhu. Then the second group, those who supported and then they helped, but they remained disbelievers. Of course, we all know Abu Talib. Abu Talib, he supported and helped the Prophet, but he never accepted Islam. Even until his death, on his deathbed, the Prophet just told him to accept Islam. But still, Allah guided whom he was. He died saying that, Ana ala millati Abdul Muttalib. He is on the path of Abu Talib, his grandfathers. He's on the path of his grandfathers, which we all know they were mushrikeen. Then the third group, those who were disbelievers, and they fought against the Prophet. They fought Islam. They didn't like Islam, so they even fought against Islam. Example is Abu Lahab. And this particular surah, of course, we all know, dedicated to this particular person. Now let's look at a little bit about this particular person, Abu Lahab. Because Abu Lahab, as we all know, is the uncle of the Prophet, very famous, very rich, and very handsome young man in Mecca. He was the grandson of Hashim. If you look at in Mecca at that time, you can see the Hashim and then the Umayyad tribes. They were the very prominent tribes. Now the Hashim tribe So he was the grandson of this particular Hashim. So he had, at least he had some kind of reputation. That gives him some kind of reputation. It's like you are the grandson of the president in your country. It gives you some kind of reputation. So this particular kind of person, he even used it to boast. He was not a Muslim, so he doesn't even care about. He just thinks that is all this life, seems to amounts to. So he boasts about it. He boasts about that particular reputation. He was a neighbor to the Prophet. Like the Surah tells us, he is separated from the Prophet just by a wall. Between the Prophet and Abu Lahab is just a wall separating them. They share the same. It's like you live in this room, then the next room is your uncle's room. The only thing separating you is a wall. And unlike today's kind of walls, today's wall, you see the wall is covered. You can't even scale. But those olden days time, the wall, even though there will be a wall separating them, but there still be some kind of vacancy. Someone can scale into the other person's yard. So this particular Abu Lahab, he used to throw garbage. He used to throw filth and garbage and all kind of things onto the Prophet. Especially when he realized the Prophet is reciting Quran. When he realized the Prophet is reciting Quran, that's the time he starts all these kind of things. He was also the father-in-law of the Prophet. Two of his sons, Utbah and then Utayba, were married to two of the daughters of the Prophet. And that is Ruqayya and then Kulsum. So he had two of his sons married to two of the daughters of the Prophet. So at least there was some kind of relationship, even if there is no family ties. He's still the uncle of the Prophet. So even if there is no, if there's no this, even if this family ties is not there, he's an in-law, father-in-law to the Prophet, because his two sons were married to the two daughters of the Prophet. But this is a person who doesn't, like Sheikh Sa'di says here, La fihi dinun wala hamiyatun lil qaraba. He doesn't have a fear of Allah in him, nor does he have respect for the ties of kinship. And so he used to hate the Prophet a lot. When the Prophet proclaimed that he is a messenger from Allah, he commanded the two sons that he has to divorce the two daughters of the Prophet out of hatred and out of pride and out of animosity. He commanded his two sons to divorce the two daughters of the Prophet in public. And that was the worst form of divorce, or the worst form of disgrace, to do that in public and just come and see it in public. We are gone. We are not more we have nothing to do with you again. And so the Prophet, this was what he did to the Prophet, just because the Prophet said he was a messenger of Allah. Just because of that. And fortunately, when Allah intended to marry them to a more righteous person, and that is Usman. Usman married these two daughters of the Prophet. When the Prophet lost his son, Qasim radiallahu anhu, like we all know, all the sons of the Prophet, they died at a younger age, like they didn't grow up. And so when the Prophet lost Qasim radiallahu anhu, this Abu Lahab, one, he is an uncle to the Prophet. Two, he is a father-in-law. Three, he is in the same family with him. So even if the person is not in war there is morality. In war there is morality. When enemies are fighting, at least it has a limit. Certain things they don't fight in that regard. But this particular kind of person, can you imagine how his animosity was to the Prophet, to an extent that the Prophet lost his son and he came out singing and dancing that the Prophet has lost his son. Batara Muhammadun. Muhammad has been cut off, like he has no one to carry his name. Like Allah says, Inna Shaniaka huwal abtar. That's from the same, a reply to that, to what he said. Inna he said, Batara Muhammadun. Muhammad has been cut off. He has no one to carry his name. You know, when you are carrying the name of your father, mostly you go with your father's name. So you carry his name. Well, even after your father's death, there's still someone to carry his name. So they used to give a lot of importance to that. I mean, lineage, someone who carry your name and still after your death. So they were saying, Muhammad has been cut off. There is no one to carry his name. And he was singing and dancing while the prophet has a dead son. And if the funeral was to be carried out, and everybody is sad, and this particular person is singing and dancing, you know, I mean, the kind of how your heart will be for you to do this. Even if this is not the prophet himself, the one you have animosity for. He's not the one. Even the child, that child, your son, is indirectly your grandson. So the Qasim radiallahu anhu was indirectly his grandson. But just because the prophet announced that he's a messenger from Allah, he showed this kind of animosity towards the prophet. Now, the prophet used to do his da'wah secretly until a point Allah ordained or Allah commanded him to publicize the da'wah. And so for about 2 times, he invited the Quraysh, the leaders of the Quraysh. He invited several people. Okay, he invited those who were close to him. Okay, his uncles and then these people who were very close to him. He invited them for dinner, such that at least after the dinner, he will say something small about Islam. He will just introduce Islam to them. And so the prophet organized the dinner. But the first time they came and then they ate, and then there was so much noise. Actually, the prophet didn't get that attention, okay, because the people were very busy talking, and then so a lot of noise. They didn't give the prophet the chance to speak. So the prophet let it go. Then he organized a second time dinner again. Then when they came, the prophet had the opportunity at the second time to at least talk something more about Islam. Abu Lahab asked the prophet that, Maw-izah, what will I be given? Like, if I accept Islam, what will I have? This is a person who is, over obsessed with what he have. In this particular life, what seems valuable to him is results. What you have, your position, your reputation, and then your work. He's a materialistic person. So the first thing he asks, Maw-izah, what will I be given if I accept Islam? Like, will I have any kind of special position, position, leadership, or what will I be given? Because me, I'm already he was from the honorable people of Quraysh. Yes, as we said before, he was among the leaders of Quraysh. And so he is thinking that if I accept Islam, what will I have in Islam? Will I still have some kind of position in Islam? And the prophet told him, just like the Muslims has been given, you have the same thing as the Muslims. You have them in the same, you share the same thing with the Muslims. You know, in Islam, everybody is equal. The only thing that makes us different is our iman. Okay, the only thing that makes us different in the sight of Allah is what is our iman. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. So the prophet told him that you will be given just like everybody is given. Then there he said, no, how come he seems himself to be different from any other person. This is the kind of person he was. As I said, he's a materialistic person. He sees himself to be, better than any other person. So there he said, Tabban li haza deen. Tabban li haza deen. May this religion be cursed. May it perish. This kind of religion doesn't need to exist. What kind of religion is that? So that I will be equal as any other person. There shouldn't be anything like that. And so the prophet didn't see anything. He just said this trash and then he left. And so the second time, the next time the prophet made this kind of claim, the proclamation or calling to Islam was on the mountain of Safa. The mountain of Safa. In their time, they used to have this particular mass publication or mass media, something like a mass media, where they used to call out to spread information. And so they used to climb onto the mountain when there's a very emergent information that needs to be passed. They will go on top of this mountain and make that this information or this notice, publicize this notice. And what they used to do is that they will remove all their clothes and become naked. Then the person will climb on the mountain, be naked. He will now call out and see whatever he will see. They used to see Wa Sabaha, and then he will see what he's coming to see. Wa Sabaha meaning woe to the morning that is coming. Woe to the morning that is coming. Meaning a very terrible morning is approaching. The morning that is coming is going to be very bad. As I said, this is something that they used to do in a kind of very, emergency situations. Where assuming, let's say, there is an army that is planning to attack. The person will somehow just go there naked and then he will proclaim something is tomorrow, there will be a very serious issue. There will be an attack on this city. So everybody should prepare. So these are the kind of things that they used to do there when they have these kind of situations. They climb on the mountain. And so the Prophet had this idea of going onto the mountain to proclaim to Islam, to call to Islam. So the Prophet went there, but he didn't remove his clothes. The Prophet didn't remove his clothes, but he went there. And this is teaching us something. And that is mass media or any means that people use to proclaim, to spread news. We can use it to proclaim Allah or to proclaim the message of Islam if we can remove the bad aspect of it. The Prophet went and used the same thing, but just that he removed the bad aspect, and that was removing their clothes and being naked. The Prophet didn't remove his clothes. He just went there with his clothes on, and then he proclaimed about Islam. He talked about Islam there. And so that is what this is teaching us. So when he goes there, let me say something. If someone go there naked, there are two things. The one, when he proclaim, when he speak out, those who hear him, they will understand. Those who are very far and then they can't hear, they will see that there is a naked person. What will they see? They will see that the person is naked. And that one alone is to inform them that this is an emergent situation. So it is not only hearing, it is hearing and then seeing. Those who are close to him will hear, and those who are far away will also see that there is an emergent situation. So that is the two things that they use at that time. So the Prophet went there with his clothes on, and then he called out, Wa Sabaha. And then he said, if I told you that there is a army behind me, behind this mountain, who is coming to attack, will you believe? And then they said, yes, because we have never seen you lying before. You are Al-Amin. And so the Prophet told them, just like you sleep and wake up, that is how you will be resurrected. Subhanallah. And so Abu Lahab, he was very furious. He said, Alihaza Jam'atana, do you call us or do you gather us, we these big people of Quraysh, we these, leaders of Quraysh, you gathered us. We thought it was something very important, something very emergent. So, and you call us just because of this. Alihaza Jam'atana, is it because of this thing that you just call us? Tabbalak. Then he said, may you be cursed. He cursed the Prophet in this instant. He was very, very, very angry. And he said this, Tabbalak, may you be cursed. He cursed the Prophet. And so in reply, Allah sent down this particular surah. The Prophet didn't say anything. He didn't reply. Allah replied on his behalf by sending down this very beautiful surah. The surah begins, Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabba. Both hands of Abu Lahab has perished. Wa tabba, and he himself has perished. Or mean, both hands of Abu Lahab perish. Wa tabba, and he himself has perished. If you look at Tabba, let's look at Tabba first. Tabba. Tabba is a past tense verb, which means has perished. So here, mainly in Arabic language, past tense verb can be used for certainty. It can be used for certainty. So for example, if like Allah says, Ata amrullahi fala tastajilun. ata amrullahi, as if the matter has already been concluded. The matter is yet to conclude. The fact of Makkah was not yet there. But Allah says, ata amrullah. The command from Allah has already come, but it wasn't yet there. So when amr is used, it's used as something like a done deal. Like the thing is for sure, it has already happened. Do you know when someone, do something and you tell the person you are dead? The person is not dead. You are already saying that. It's like you are saying that for sure this is what will happen to you. So mostly we use past tense verb to give emphasis, to mean that the thing there's no doubt about the thing happening, just like the thing has already happened. You know, sometimes someone will tell you something and you say, done deal. Oh, don't worry, done deal. Meaning, the thing is already done, but the thing is not yet done. So you are saying that, oh, it will be done, just for sure. As if, so past tense mainly is used, if you say, sometimes you say like yesterday. Yesterday is past. So something that has happened yesterday, there's no two ways of it again. There's no way the thing can be brought back and rechanged again. But something that is happening in the future, there's a probability that the thing may or may not happen again. So when past tense is used, it means the thing is for sure. It's like sometimes you say it is as sure as yesterday. It is as sure as yesterday, because yesterday is past. It is confirmed. So when past tense is used in Arabic, sometimes it is used for certainty, meaning the thing is sure it will happen. So tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabb. The two hands of Abu Lahab has perished. Even though Allah is saying it will perish, but Allah is saying there's no doubt about, there's nothing which will prevent it. The thing is already, is for sure, as if it has already happened. So tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabb. Another way is may. So that it may be, it can also be like a dua. I hope that is clear. It can also be as a curse. Sometimes you say tabbat yada, like may the two hands of Abu Lahab perish. So it's a dua. So sometimes the past tense verb is used for dua, like you say jazakallahu khairan. So you say may Allah reward you, or may Allah recompense you with good. So but you say jaza, that is past tense. It's like the thing has, so past tense verbs can sometimes be used for prayer. You are praying unto the person. You are praying for the person. I hope that is clear. So here, tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabba. As I said, it can also be may the two hands of Abu Lahab perished. Wa tabba, and he himself has perished. Wa tabba, and he himself has perished. And that is so. So tabbat, the meaning is for something to gradual destruction of something. That is tabba. So it is used for rotten of something. If you see a dead animal which rot bit by bit, that is tabba. For something to gradual destroy. To come into destruction, that is tabba. Allah used this for Fir'aun. I think Surah Al-Ghafir. وَمَا كَيْدُ فِرْعَوْنَ إِلَّا فِي تَبَابٍ. The plot of Fir'aun. Fir'aun had a lot of plots. This is what we should do to the children of Bani Israel. Let's kill all the men, leave all the children, leave all the girls, and then we do this. We enslave all those who are already existing. Do this. And Allah is saying all this is going to come into slow destruction. And that is what finally happened. So for something to gradual come into destruction, that is tabba. So yada here is the both hands, the two hands. So that the tab here, the this tar at ta'nis is because yada, two hands. The body parts in Arabic language, body parts are feminine. Body parts which are two are feminine, like two eyes, two hands, two legs. The body parts which are in pairs, they are feminine. So that is tab. That's why the tar is here. Other than that, the verb is actually tabba. Okay. So Allah says yada. Allah used yada here and not any other thing, because meaning whatever Abu Lahab is coming to do, mainly the hands is what we used to do our work. So it is used to mean whatever he will do, all the plots that he will have against Islam and against the Prophet, all of it is going to come into gradual destruction. So meaning this is an affirmation to the Prophet that he shouldn't worry. Allah has taken care of all the plots, that's the secret plots that he's doing. Like Allah says, وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. Allah is saying that all what he's coming to. So this hands here is representing Bimana, all the works that he's going to do, all the plots and all his secret plots against Islam or against the Prophet, all of it is going to come into gradual destruction. Watabba, and he himself, he will perish. He has perished. He has perished, and he himself, he has perished. And this is so. If you look at, he had a very bad ending. He just came gradual, and landed in a very, disgusting death. When, he was a coward. He didn't go for the battle of Badr. When it was time for the battle, he sent someone on his behalf. All the people of Abu Jahl, they were coming to fight for the hometown. They were saying they are fighting for the hometown. They are fighting for their land. So they were disbelievers, but they were cool. They were brave. But this particular person, he was a disbeliever as well as a coward. So he didn't come. He didn't go out for the battle to the battle, and he even had a very bad reputation. His actual name is Abdul Uzza, which some say he had it from the fact that he was in charge of the treasures of Quraysh. The treasures, he was in charge of it. In today's terminologies, we will see the financial minister. So he was something like that. That was his position in terms of Quraysh. He was in charge of the treasures. So they say he stole some of the golden calf, and so he was attributed with that name, Abdul Uzza. Sometimes in Arabic language, when you use Abu, sometimes it's not necessarily mean that you are a father to that. It's sometimes for when you are close to something or when you are used to something, you can be say Abu something. How that is clear. Like we have Abu Huraira. It doesn't literally mean he's the father of the cat. But if, as I said, if you are used to something or you are very close to something, then we can call it Abu Kaza or Kaza. I hope that is clear. So he had done so, and at his end he contracted a particular disease. He contracted these diseases where he had swellings. There was different parts of his body was swollen into small rashes. And so when these things they burst, you see very bad smell coming from it, and then you see pus, and then all these kind of things, liquid flowing, and then it will produce a very bad smell, and you will even see small maggots and these things coming from it. And so this was what the disease he contracted, and all his family, they believed it was contagious. So no one was going near him. All his family, they left him. No one even dare make a mistake to go near him. So he had this kind of thing where no one will touch him, no one will even go near him until his death. So this was what he contracted, gradual, pain, suffer in pain until he died. And when he was dead, how will they bury him was even a problem. They had to dig his grave very big, and then they used some very tall wood. They used a very tall log of tree wood, and then they push him by the means of the wood. They push him into the grave, and then they just cover it up, and that's all. That was how he was. Look at this kind of ending. So that is the beauty of the Quran. The Quran says, "Watabba." He himself, he will perish. He will come. Not just perishing at once. Perishing at once, that is halakah. Okay, halakah, to just die a violent death, and that's all. Like someone just fall from a tree or from a building and does it, his head just smash. He just dies once. That one is not something like that. Tabba, to gradual rot. As I said, it's mostly used for rotten. So it comes gradual destruction. For tabba. Ma agna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. His wealth will not avail him nor what he has earned. His wealth will not avail him nor what he has earned. Bimana, as we said, he was a very rich person, a very handsome person. So due to, he was very handsome, and so he had this name Lahab, Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab. Lahab actually means flame that flickers. Flame that flickers and glitters. Okay, so he was such kind of person, like very handsome, such that he was given this name. Okay, he was given the, when a flame flickers, it brightens the place. As you have a very dark place, and then there's a flame, and then it flickers, it gives the place, it brightens the place, it brightens up the place. And so because from that we coin it to handsomeness. If someone is handsome, he can be given that name. So he got that name Abu Lahab from that, because of his, how handsome he was. And so he was handsome, very rich, having a particular position in the term of leadership of the Quraysh. And so Allah is saying that ma'agna anhu maluhu, his wealth will not avail him, wama kesab, nor what he has earned. What he has earned of position, of respect, of wealth, of children, and all that, all his assets, none of it will avail him. One thing we need to know is another beautiful thing. Ma agna anhu maluhu. This agna is in the past tense. His wealth didn't avail him. That is actually how it should be translated, or that is actually how it will be read. Ma agna anhu maluhu. His wealth didn't avail him. Agna is a past tense verb. The present tense will be yugni. Agna yugni. So Allah says ma agna. His wealth didn't avail him. That's actually how it is, but that's not what it means. It means his wealth will not avail him. His wealth and what he has earned will not avail him. But Allah is using past tense verb as if the thing is in the past. This is the same thing I said here, and that is the same explanation I said when we were talking about the tabba. I hope that is clear. It means to Allah it is a done deal. The thing is a done deal. There is no whatsoever thing that can help him. It is done as if it is past tense, or as if it has already done. The thing, it will for sure come to pass. The verdict from Allah, what Allah is saying, it will for sure come to pass. Just like it is past. To Allah, there is nothing like Madi and Mudore. There's nothing like past, present, or future. To Allah, it is the same. Okay, we are human beings, and then we have restrictions by time. To Allah, nothing is time. Allah is not bounded by time. So Allah, to Allah, the past, the present, and then the future, they are all the same. When Allah wishes something, it will for sure come to pass. Nothing will prevent it. So Allah is using ma agna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. It's very beautiful. So maluhu, of course, we all know wealth can avail a human being when you are in the terms of need. Of course, it is true. Wealth can help us. Let's say someone is sick. His bills, medical bills, he can use wealth. He can use his money to pay for medical bills. So it has helped him in one way or the other. Someone is hungry. He can use money to... But when it comes to dealings with Allah, this has no benefit. That's where wealth doesn't have anything. Okay. Like Allah says on Judgment Day, someone will be crying, Ma agna anni maliya. Halaka anni sultaniya khuzuhu fagulluh. In the sight of Allah, when it comes to dealing with Allah, your money has no, it has nothing. That's not the place money can do anything. It's very beautiful. Ma agna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. And what he has earned, mainly his children, like the Prophet says, and this is what most of the Mufassirun, that's the idea that they have, that this is wealth, this is children. Makesab, what he has earned, is talking about his children, and that is also supported by the hadith of the Prophet, where the Prophet says that inna atyaba ma akeltum min kasbikum wa inna awladakum min kasbikum. The best of your provision is what you earned, and your children are part of what you earned. So so it is very beautiful here, but of course it is general. What he has earned of reputation, of position, of children, of wealth and any other thing, all his access, none of it will avail him. So that will mean that if we go by that idea, that will mean that this ma is a ma nafia. Ma nafia. Another way of looking at it is the fact that this ma could be al-istifhamiyya. It could be al-istifhamiyya. And that will be a question. Ma agna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. Meaning that we will say, and what has his money and what he has earned availed him? Ma agna anhu. What has his money and what he earned availed him? Ma agna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. It can also be in that form of question, and that will mean the answer will be nothing. It will be a rhetorical question. It's like someone, Allah. Most of the time you see Allah will destroy a nation, like the cases of a nation being destroyed, and then Allah will ask, what all the things that they have, they used to worship their idols and these things, what have those things availed them of? Nothing. It doesn't avail them of anything. So that's a similar thing here. Allah is asking a rhetorical question. Ma agna anhu maluhu. Look at the kind of ending that he had. All the money and what he has earned, did it avail him of anything? So what did it avail him of? Despite having that kind of money and all these kind of things that he earned. So this ma here could be an istifhamiyya. I hope that is clear. So there are two ways of looking at it. Now Allah continues by saying, was sayasla naran zata lahabin. He will enter and burn in the fire that possesses flame, the flaming fire. Naran zata lahabin, the flaming fire. He has the name Abu Lahab. And Lahab, as we said, it means a fire that possesses flame. So this particular Lahab, it is a coincidence that he's going to enter into fire to burn. And that fire is going to be Lahabin. It's going to be a fire, Zata Lahabin, a fire that possesses flame. And he is also called Abu Lahabin. So it's like he's a father to the fire. So they will just meet and then he'll be burning there. It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence. I don't know how, he had that name before Islam. And after Islam came, it's going to be, the West. Abu Bakr was the Atqa, among the very righteous person, the Atqa, and this was among the richest of people at that time, Abu Lahab. One thing also is the sin. The sin here is sin al-mustaqbaliyya, which means that he will soon. So actually the translation should be, he will soon enter and burn in the fire that possesses flame. This sin here is very beautiful. It shouldn't be ignored. It shouldn't be overlooked. It has a great importance here, and that is Allah. To Allah, it is something that is very soon. He will soon enter to burn. We are looking at judgment day to be very far away, but to Allah, it is something that is very close. Even if we were to spend millions of years in this life and remain in the grave for billions of years, like on the day of judgment, like Allah says, كَأَنَّهُمْ يَوْمَ يَرَوْنَ مَا يُوعَدُونَ لَمْ يَلْبَسُوا إِلَّا سَاعَةً مِنَ النَّهَارِ بَلَا فَهَلْ يُهْلَكُ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. On the day of judgment, they will think that they just remain in this world for an hour. Look at those who have been in the graves up until now. On the day of judgment, they will think that we just remain in this world for an hour. Just an hour. Our life and our life in the grave. Someone being in the grave for more than millions of years, several millions of years. On the day of judgment, he will think, I just remained in this world for just an hour. That's what he will be thinking. Subhanallah. Meaning to Allah, it is nothing. It is nothing. So to Allah, what we think is totally different to us. So Allah says, he will soon enter to burn in the fire that possesses flame very soon. It is not far away. We are seeing it to be far. إِنَّهُمْ يَرَوْنَهُ بَعِيدًا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. And not only him, not only Abu Lahab, وَامْرَأَتُهُ, and his wife, حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ, the continuous carrier of firewood. وَامْرَأَتُهُ, Imra'ah, as we all know, is wife. But the mainly are two, like Imam Sha'rawi says, mainly they are two words used for wife or spouse in the Quran. One is imra and the other is zawj. So imra'atun is mainly when there is a child, the spouse, let's say the husband and the wife, they lack a child or they lack harmony. So imra'a will be used. Zawj is used when there is harmony and there is a child. So let's say the husband and the wife, they are both Muslim. They are both Muslims. And then they have a child. They will be zawj, like the Prophet. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul li azwajika. So the Prophet, zawj is used for the Prophet. You will not say imra'a used for the Prophet. So the zawj, as I said, is used for when the husband and the wife, they are Muslims and they have a child. So that's when zawj is used. But imra'a, if you check in the Quran, when imra'a is used, imra'atun, it means that there is either a child lacking, the husband and the wife, they lack a child, or they are non-Muslims, or one of them is non-Muslim. Zawj is used when both are Muslims and there is a child. Other than that, imra'a will be used. Imra'a will be used. Imra'atun will be used. I hope that is clear. So imra'atun, Abu Lahab is not a Muslim. His wife, the same thing. So both are negatives. They are not Muslims, even though they may have a child. So imra is suitable here. And that is the miracles of the Quran. You will not see, these words interchanged. It's now that people are able to study the Quran and then fish it out. This kind of things out. The Prophet didn't have kind of this thing to sit down and see, let me place this word here and place this word here. But check through the Quran. And not only this word, every word in the Quran is beautiful, fixed where it should be. If you remove it, you will see that there's going to be crookedness. And that's why this Quran, that's among the miracles of the Quran. وَمْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. And his wife, the continuous carrier of firewood. Hammalatun is mubalagha from hamil. Okay, so hammalatun, he does it a lot. So there's two things that could be here. This could mean, you see hammalata, this is mansub. So most of the translation will tell you his wife, the carrier of firewood, as if it is a sifa, as if it is an adjective to it. But it is not so, because an adjective and then now it is modified. They should have the same i'rab in Arabic language, like we have learned. The adjective and then now it is modifying. Okay, the na'at and then the man'ut, they must have the same i'rab. If one is mansub, the other should be mansub. If one is marfu, the other should be marfu. So I hope that is clear. We learn that. So it should have been, if it is going to be a direct sifa, it should be wamra'atuhu hamalatu, not hamalata. But here is hamalat al-hatab. So here is marfu and here is mansub. So meaning there is a reason. There is a reason. So this could be the hamalatu. There could be two reasons. There could be two reasons. One, it could be a hal. It could be a hal, a condition. Meaning that will be his state, his condition in hellfire. He's going to enter Sayasla Naran, like we just saw in the previous ayah. Sayasla Naran Zat al-Lahab is going to enter and burn in the hellfire. And Allah is saying his state in the hellfire. In what condition is she going to be in the hellfire? Hammalat al-Hatab, a carrier of firewood. That's going to be his state in the hellfire. He's going to be carrying firewood, bring it, and then to be fueling the fire as they are burning. He and his wife, she and her husband, as they are burning, she will be going and be bringing firewood and then be fueling the fire more and more and more. That's going to be her condition in the hellfire. Two, so the first one is, it could be a hal. Hal we always condition in Arabic grammar. The second one is going to be something that we call mansubatun ala-zam. Mansubatun ala-zam. In Arabic language, as-sifatu yajuzu nasbihi ala-zam. It is allowed to make an adjective mansub to indicate zam, to indicate degrading, criticism, or a flaw. A flaw. So the adjective, that sifa, is now going to be a flaw or a criticism of the noun. So it is allowed in Arabic language. So this will be like that. So wamra'atuhu hammalat al-hatab, and his wife hammalat al-hatab, which is a criticism, meaning that in during the time of the Prophet, or during the early days of the Prophet when he proclaimed Islam, the wife was also like Sheikh Saadi says here, وكانت أيضا شديدة العزية لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تتعاون هي وزوجها على الإثم والعدوان وتلك الشر وتسعى غاية ما تقدر عليه في أذية الرسول وتجمع على زحرها من الأوزار بمنزلة من يجمع حطبا قد أعد له في عنقه حبلا من مسد أي من ليف أو أنها تحمل في النار حطب على زوجها متقلدة في عنقها حبلا من مسد. So that is what Sheikh has said here. Sheikh has said that he also used كان أيضا شديد العزية. He was also very severe when it comes to animosity against the Prophet. تتعاون هي وزوجها على الإثم. He used to cooperate with her husband in harming the Prophet and inflicting pain on the Prophet. So she was also that kind of person. She used to go and fetch firewood, wood that have thorns, shawk, like Sheikh says here, wood that have shawk, thorns, and the sharp edges, sharp pointed things, and he come and put it on the path of the Prophet. Where the Prophet is moving, he know this, the Prophet follow this path and this here and there. Then he go and put it there so that the Prophet will be inflicted with those kind of things. So, it's a zamp, because the wife who was Jamil, she was also a reputable person when it comes to Quraysh. She was the granddaughter of the Umayyah. As I said, it was also a very prominent tribe when it comes to Quraysh. When it comes to Makkah. And so, she being the same, also she being the wife of Abu Lahab, she had a further high reputation. She was also very beautiful and very rich. So she, physically or materialistic, she was having some kind of reputation in Makkah. And such kind of person to go around fetching firewood, because fetching of firewood those days was the work of slaves. It was slaves that they used to send to go and fetch firewood. The husband, the wife of the house, they used to have slaves, and most of them, they will not go and do it themselves. This was the work they give to slaves, to go and fetch firewood, to come and give them fuel for the house, to cook or to do something. They give it to the slaves to do. And this person, her animosity was to the extent that she will go out and do it herself. So in that regard, she is degrading herself. So this could be, as I said, mansubatun ala zam. It could be a mansub, an adjective that indicates or that criticizes her or that decreases her. Oh, that is clear. Hammalat al-hatab. Wamra'atuhu hammalat al-hatab. So she being called, or she loved to be called, the most honorable person, the wife of Abu Lahab, the grandson of Umayyah. She loved to be called these kind of names. And Allah is now calling him Hammalat al-Hatab, the carrier of firewood, something that was called something that was named on slaves, that was given to slave, a title that was given to slave. Allah is calling him that title. So it could be a zam, a flaw that Allah is calling him by it. Or it could be her state in hellfire. She's going to be carrying firewood in hellfire. I hope that is clear. في جيدها حبل من مسد. Hablun, we all know, is rope. Jidun is the neck, al-unuk. And then masad is leaf. Okay, like Sheikh Saadi says here, min leaf, leafun. Leafun is in English what we call fiber. Very tiny fiber is what we term as masad. So around her neck will be a rope of palm fiber. Around her neck will be a rope of palm fiber. And that is, if we are going by the first meaning, and that is this Hammalat al-Hatab being a hal, her condition in hellfire, then this will mean in hellfire she will have a palm fiber around her neck by which she will be able to carry the woos, the wood, the firewood, to add to the fire to burn them more. Like Sheikh Sadi says here, أو أنها تحمل في النار حطبا على زوجها متقلدة في عنقها حبلا من مسد. She's going to have a palm fiber which will be around her neck, and by the means of it, it will be tied to firewood, which will be pulling to the fire to add more fuel for them to burn more. And if we go by the second meaning, وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ, being the fact that, and her wife, the one who degraded herself by carrying firewood to put on the path of the Prophet, if we go by that meaning, it will mean فِي جِيدِهَا حَبْلٌ مِّن مَّسَدٍ. It will mean, of course, and she did that. She used to even do that. She used to take this palm fiber, put it around her neck, and she goes to tie it to the wood, the firewood, which she bring, and then she put it on in the path of the Prophet. So that will mean in this life, unless this further describing how she did that that disgrace to herself, thinking that she is having the Prophet. في جيدها حبل من مسد. When this particular ayah was revealed, وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ, she came. There's a very beautiful narration around this ayah, and that is she was searching for the Prophet. She was very furious. She was saying, I am a very reputable person in this particular tribe, and Muhammad, they will say Rasulullah, they will just call the Prophet by his name. So she will say, Muhammad has said this about me. She has called me Hammalat al-Hatab, a title that is used for slaves. And she was going around searching for the Prophet. Now the Prophet was sitting with Abu Bakr. And so when she was coming, Abu Bakr told the Prophet that she is coming. And she appeared to be very angry from afar. Looking at her, you could tell that she is angry. And she had something in her hand. There was something in her hand. Her hand was at the back. She put her hand at the back. And it was like a rock or something was in her hand. And she was approaching. So Abu Bakr told the Prophet she is coming. So the Prophet told Abu Bakr, don't worry, she will not be able to see me. And that was what happened. She came there, Abu Bakr and the Prophet is sitting. She came and asked Abu Bakr, where is Rasulullah? Where is Muhammad? Where is Muhammad? And the Prophet was sitting right there. She couldn't see the Prophet. It's among, the Sahabas, they have a certain yaqeen. This is what, it means to have iman, like to enjoy the company of the Prophet. Certain things will happen, and wallahi, it will keep your iman till you are deaf. You will just believe that, subhanallah, this is nothing like, a real messenger from Allah. So Abu Bakr was there. The Prophet told him, she will not be able to see me. She came, the Prophet was sitting with Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was sitting with the Prophet. And she was telling Abu Bakr, where is Muhammad? And Prophet was sitting right there. And so she just talked trash and then she left. Sheikh Sadi conclude by saying that وَعَلَى كُلٍّ فَفِي هَذِهِ السُّورَةِ آيَةٌ بَاخِرَةٌ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ. In this particular surah, there's a great miracle among the miracles, the miraculous signs of Allah. And that is, please observe, he's going to point out something very beautiful. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ أَنزَلَ هَذِهِ السُّورَةِ وَأَبُو لَهَبٍ وَامْرَأَتُهُ لَمْ يَهْلَكَا. Allah revealed this surah, and Abu Lahab and his wife, they were not destroyed yet. They were not yet dead. They were still alive. And Allah had said that سَيَصْلَى نَارًا ذَاتَ لَهَبٍ. Do you know one thing? As far as someone is alive, you can't guarantee that the person will end up in hellfire or not. Because at the end of his life, the person can simply become a Muslim. So the Quran put itself into test by saying something that is not yet done. It's like I'd say, tomorrow it will rain. Let's say tomorrow the rain didn't come. What will you call me? You call me a liar. So my reputation, I put my reputation into test by saying something that is yet to happen in the future, and you already predict it. So prediction is a means of putting your reputation into test. That is what the Quran has actually done. The Quran has put itself into test by saying that sayasla naran zata lahabin, meaning that there is no way they will ever become Muslims again. And that is what happened. Abu Lahab could simply say, I am a Muslim now. Then that would mean the Quran has an ayah that is invalid, that is not correct. And so the Quran is not, it's not really from Allah. How can something from Allah have false information? Because the Quran says, sayasla naran zata lahabin, they will enter into hellfire and burn. If Abu Lahab had just said, I am a Muslim, I have converted to Islam, Islam should protect me from the hellfire. If you are a Muslim, the submission to Allah is something that will protect you from the hellfire. And so, where is now this ayah? That means this ayah is now wrong in the part of the Quran. But this came, he couldn't even think of that. So very funny. In public, he used to go around and say, look at my hands. Muhammad says, Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. The two hands of Abu Lahab had perished. Look at my hands. Nothing has happened to my hands. What is he talking about? He used to talk, sarcasm about the Prophet. Not knowing, he didn't realize what is coming to happen, how he will end up dying. So that's what the Sheikh is saying here. Very miraculous ayah, science. And it's not only this. There are several of them. Look at Surah to Rum. It's a complete, prediction. Allah just said this is what's coming to happen in this and this year. In 3 to 9 years, this is what is coming to happen. And that is so. It happened. It had to happen. As far as it is from the Quran, it will happen. And we'll see this, inshallah, when we go further and we are studying several parts of the Quran. So that's what he's saying. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ أَنزَلَ هَذِهِ السُّورَةَ وَأَبُو لَهَبٍ وَامْرَأَتُهُ لَمْ يَهْلَكَا. Allah brought down, revealed this surah, and Abu Lahab and his wife has not yet perished. وَأَخْبَرَ أَنَّهُمَا سَيُعَذِّبَانِ فِي النَّارِ. And then he informed us that both of them will be punished in the fire. وَلَا بُدْ. And then there is no doubt about it. وَمِنْ لازم ذلك أنهما لا يسلمان. And then from and what it meant here is that they are not going to become Muslims forever and ever, and that's what happened. فوقع كما أخبر عالم الغيب والشهادة. And then just like Allah informed us, it came to pass. That was what happened. None of them submitted their will, and then they both died as mushrikeen, as disbelievers who had even great animosity against Islam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, we have come to the end of the study of this particular surah. This is a very concise and very brief study of the surah. Actually, we have not done much as this surah could be. We pray that may Allah grant us the barakah of studying the Quran and put the barakah in our lives. جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.